and it takes the pressure off, and I feel confident to put what's left of me on the page.
Interesting. Very interesting. It comes from a kind of accepting. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Acceptance of what you don't know, and so what you do know, you celebrate in a way.
Yeah, yes, very much so. I think that I think that you get a certain confidence from saying, boy, there's a world of things out there I don't know, and I don't need to have the answers for them. And those things I think I know, I can talk about. And so, yeah, I think that's where it comes from. When I thought I was supposed to be wise and know the answers to so many things, to most things, when I was a younger woman, always coming up with trying to come up with the right answer for your family, for your whatever, that I had no confidence in that whatsoever. But now that I know I don't have to know, and that there's a lot I don't know, and that gives me confidence.
Right, okay. Let's talk something about networking. Specifically, what about the internet? How much do you think the internet has contributed to your work, to your growth as a poet?
It really has contributed. It's been a fantastic research tool, for one thing, and and a tool for exploring things and places that I would not ordinarily have access to. It's also one of the best things. It's allowed me to read the brilliant work that's being written by poets you never hear about. There are some people writing out there on blogs and on poetry websites who are fantastically creative, and they're so talented, and they don't have any books out. They're not widely published, so no one knows who they are. But the internet has opened up this world to a huge extent, and anyone who wants to use it that way can use it that way. You and I met on the internet, and it's been this really exciting experience. I have a friend in the UK whom I would lay down and die for, and I've never even met her in person. And it's exposed me to a vast number of people who are peaceful and prayerful and good, and the vast number of people who are just the opposite. And so I think I'm able to write about the human condition a little more elaborately because I'm exposed through the internet to so much of it.
That's true. In just a cursory glance at the net, you read about a woman being stoned to death in one country. You hear about a volunteer laying down her life for other people in another country, and it's just a flick of the knob. You turn it on, and there it is.
Yes, and when you think that there is so much that until the internet, there was so much that the governments kept from people that are now out there, that people have access to and have shown by their own videos and their own experiences. It's an incredible way to meet humanity and be involved in it.
I agree. Yeah. Talking about involvement, if you met a young poet, would you consider mentoring her? I'm talking about perhaps more so through the internet, because a lot of people reach out for help. Would you, and have you mentored any young poets?
I have not yet. If by mentoring you mean talking with him or her, critiquing poems, discussing ways of seeing and perceiving and getting that stuff on paper, yes, I would. That would be wonderful. I'd love to do that. If you mean getting someone published, I know very little of how to make that happen. But yeah, I would surely. Yeah, I'd share what I know and hope to learn from them.
I'd like to talk a bit about the spoken word, okay?
Oh?
Do you hear your poems as you write them?
Yes, absolutely I do. They talk to me. Their own selves. They do. It's funny, and if I come up with something that doesn't ring true, it's almost as if the line says, "You don't like this. This is not right. This is phony," or "This is so contrived. Don't do this." So they really do sort of talk back to me.
That's interesting. I was telling you I'm a puppeteer, and sometimes I would leave the room in the middle of doing an eyeball or a neck or something, and I would hear the puppet yelling at me from the other room, "Come back, finish this."
Yeah.
It's funny how our creations take on life.
Absolutely. That which you create becomes your other persona or a child of yours who speaks back to you and gives you feedback on, what you're doing and does it ring true.
Have you ever traveled to open mics? Have you traveled around the country a lot?
I've been to open mics. Some I've liked very much, and some not so much. The ones I liked a lot were made up of people who were respectful to all the poets who were reading, all the readers, even to the ones whose work they didn't care for. I have not liked it when people called out rude things from the audience or booed someone for something they said. I don't like that. I don't think it's not necessary. But I have liked some open mics very much, where things were very alive and people were really getting something out of each reader's work. I like that when that happens.
Why do you think there's a difference? What sets apart a successful open mic? Is it the place? Is it the people who organize it?
Yeah,
is it the poets themselves?
Yeah, it's a little bit of all of that. One thing I would say is that I think that the best open mics have been with a little more seasoned poets. I don't mean they have to be totally professional or written a lot of books, but just people who have talked with people long enough in their lives or who have been exposed to enough people that they know how to keep that level of respect and decency.
It's not necessarily a product of age, but a product of seriousness or respect for themselves or other human beings. Speaking about that, your poem Bad Manners is right out there. Very accusatory, very self-recriminating in terms of Americans, America, and Western culture. Have you ever done bad manners in public? And if so,
yes.
Did the audience react?
Yes.
And how?
I did read it. The reaction, I've read it twice. The reaction both times was very interesting. I finished the poem and there were a few seconds of silence and I thought, oh hell, they hate it. And then there was some applause and some whistles and a few people saying right on, and I was very, very relieved and very glad because it's an important poem to me. And so I was glad to see it received, even if maybe disagreed with, at least received.
I would love you to read it.
Okay. Bad Manners. I don't know who to be angry with anymore. That's a lie. I do know. But my rage can't find a release tunnel, something or somewhere to race through. I need to see someone with real power apply a tourniquet to the hemorrhaging of the mortally wounded countries my country has stabbed. It is not enough to see the burning bodies on the news in high definition. You must know that our backyard barbecues mask the smell of smoke across the planet. It is not enough to know that in my country there are mothers in jail for protesting the deaths of their children who were forced to kill other children in other countries, children who were told to kill them. Knowing is nothing. Fury is nothing. Oh, sweet America, I don't crave forgiveness for not singing I Love Barney songs with your babies when I know that the scent of quinta and the taste of cubas have been stripped away from the noses and the mouths of those you helped to destroy. I'm not some remorseful woman in a shopping mall, unable to grasp the notion of what belongs to who. We belong to we. The windows through which we watch the world are cleaner than our hands, and the ghosts fleeing by those windows no longer care what languages they speak. Talking of how the water of the rivers in Liberia became beds of gravel, and how the hills of Sarajevo were too gouged and flattened for snow play, a poet said to me, "All you can do is write it again and again until honor turns some of this around." There's a chance he was right, and there's a chance that it's bullshit and can't be turned around. So here is that place in the poem where my rage and futility made me teary and sad and tired. Listen, please. It is not indigestion keeping you awake nights, or the thoughts of a heart you broke in some fit of bad manners or microwave lust. No, this insomnia you suffer is made of oil and blood blending. This insomnia is the total absence of love as humans have known it. This is unabashed knowing climbing into bed with you, putting its hands around your throat and squeezing until your heart bursts open and its pieces scatter over the world like petals.
Wow. And now the audience says, right on, if they can scrape themselves off the floor.
Yeah, some said right on, and there was this, what seemed like an endless silence, although I know it was a few seconds, but at first I thought, oh dear, I mean, they're just going to hate this. And then I thought, well, if they do, they do. It should, maybe they should hate it. Maybe they should hate every word I said and think about it.
Yeah. I wish. Okay. Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's talk about how you write books. You've written so many, and After the Earthquake is filled with so many poems. I'm wondering, how do you start a book? And is it different for each one?